This is the vlog for December 28th, 2018. And I went and saw Bumblebee today. Now, I'm a tremendous Transformers fan. I have been since I was a kid. My dad got me Optimus Prime as a little present when I was about 3 years old. And at first, I was just sort of confused by what it was because it was a truck, but it also did things. And very soon my confusion gave way to elation as I realized I could move little parts of it, and then I had a little man, and then I could move parts, and I had a truck again. My parents had been giving me a lot of little matchbox cars. My mom likes to remind me of a story where I bawled my eyes out after I dropped a fire truck I was fond of down a hole in a wharf on the Seattle waterfront. It's probably still resting at the bottom of the Puget Sound, rusting away all these 30, 35 or 36 years later. But Optimus is a little too big to drop down a hole, which is a good thing. In a box somewhere in this place, I still have that figure. I've even gotten I got a reissue of that Optimus Prime figure for my 22nd birthday, maybe. But the Transformer movies, the live action ones, are a mixed bag at best. The one that came out in the 2000s, the very first one, I was very fond of. I think I've said that before. And my fondness for the series waned and waned and waned as they kept coming out. Michael Bay's directorial style is at odds with my personal taste. He prefers action shot after action shot, wide sweeps around characters looking stunned at the magnitude of whatever it is going on. And when it comes to CGI, he likes big robots that look like they've been made out of metal origami doing somersaults around each other in such a way that you can't tell what's going on. Thankfully, this movie wasn't like that. This movie definitely devalued action in favor of storytelling. And it told a really warm story that was very much right out of the 80s. It's set in 1987. I was 6 years old and in the midst of collecting my Transformers at the time. And it uses designs that are far closer to the original toys in a lot of ways than the very alien designs Michael Bay has used in his films. That's not to say that there aren't some very alien-looking robots, but there were still plenty that I knew exactly who they were as soon as they were on screen, which is saying something because most of the time in the past I've had been told, oh, that's Ironhide. The red van is now a jet black pickup truck. Sure, that was easy to tell. Oh, Ratchet, he's still an ambulance, but he's actually now a search and rescue vehicle and is bright neon green instead of white and red. Ratchet is an interesting case because he has used the Red Cross icon illegally the entire time he's existed. Anytime you see Red Cross on a Transformer or anything else, it has to be licensed from the Red Cross organization because that's how they make a lot of their money to fund the stuff that they do, is to license their imaging, I guess. And so a lot of toys that make ambulances use that cross illegally without realizing that they need to pay a fee to do so. Getting back to the actual film, it's set in Northern California, which is pretty close to the part of Oregon that the original TV show was set in. Charlie is the female main character, and she does a wonderful job. That actress, Haley, whose name I can't remember exactly, has a future ahead of her, I think. She could definitely be in a lot of movies. She has this thing where she's supposed to be sort of, nerdier and less attractive than a bunch of other girls who were very attractive in a typical 80s kind of way. And she just happens to be much prettier than most of them because most of them have been done up to look like they're trying too hard. It's one of those things. Hollywood telling you, yeah, this is not as an attractive person as this person. And then, sure. Bumblebee himself was remarkable. I don't want to give too much of the story away, but using him as a focus really worked well, and it mixed a lot of his old personality, a personality that showed up in a lot of comics, and the newer movies' personalities, all mishmashed together. I don't want to say too much because I want people to go out and see the movie. And I will say this: if you're going to go see one movie this holiday season, and it's going to be sort of a popcorn action movie, see Into the Spider-Verse. But if you have room for two or more, Bumblebee is not a bad choice. It stumbles. It's got a few areas where it's sort of, there's a friend who, he's supposed to be the nerdy friend, and again, he's way too attractive looking to be the nerdy friend, and his awkwardness is a little too awkward at times. The family is sort of ridiculous, and there were a couple shots. One of the bad guys looking at her wrist projection. They show one picture of her looking at one image, and then like 3 cuts later, she's looking at the thing on her wrist again, and it's just a different image, but it's the same sort of framed shot. It's from the same angle, and it's just like, did you guys just recycle the footage with a new hologram? So, like, again, it's not perfect. It doesn't do as much right as Into the Spider-Verse did, but as a live-action film and as a Transformers film, certainly, it's probably the best. I mean, I wasn't even planning on seeing it. I did not see the final of the Michael Bay Transformer films, and it sounds like it was a good thing because it got really bad reviews, like worst movie of the year level of reviews. But one thing does sort of concern me. One of the producers' studios credited in Bumblebee is Tencent Studios. And I don't know if they are related to Tencent Games, who are a Chinese game company famous for just being really not very good. They use a monetization model that is basically gambling for kids. They churn out games, they buy up studios promising the world, and then pull the rug out from under them and dump them at the first sign of non-profitability. And it sounds like this movie is going to take a hammering in China because they've extended the amount of time Aquaman can be in theaters in China, which is going to dig into Bumblebee's sales, apparently. So if Tencent is expecting a major return, they may not want to make more of these movies, which is a shame, because this version of the Transformers universe is much better for film than the last 5. So, we'll see. Anyway, I still have a lot of hope for the future. I still have a lot of love for the Transformers franchise, but time will tell where that goes. I'm Eric Spornitz, and tomorrow will be better.